Well, I had
Looking good so far.
the great opportunity to attend and turn at the SWAT meeting, demonstrate at the SWAT meeting this year. And one of the demonstrations I did was on Native American holoforms, and that's what I'm going to do tonight. And we'll start off with a little slideshow if we can, Tom.
Yes, thanks, Tom.
Now, my daughter used to live in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and we'd go out there and visit and get to go to the galleries and up to Santa Fe and Taos. And we purchased some Native American pottery. And I want to say, if you're not inspired by that pottery as a turner, you're missing something. So tonight, we're going to look at some of that and some of the shapes that they turn and talk a little bit about the detail and how you can accomplish some of that. So mostly what we acquired were Acoma pottery, but in that area, you also have the Zuni pottery and the Santa Clara pottery and some Navajo pottery. A lot of the galleries actually carry a wide range of pottery. Next. This is an Acoma vase shape. And if you see, as a wood turner, what do you think about that shape? How would you turn that? And so it gives you I think of wood turning as a problem-solving activity. So this gives you some problems to solve. Also, the detail on the pottery, you'll notice, is quite fine. Next. So if you go online and you Google pottery shapes, you'll come across a number of websites that have things like this. And as you look across them, you can see that a lot of the things you'll see at the galleries or at the wood turning shows in the instant gallery are some of these shapes. Next. Oops, we missed one. Again, this is just more pottery shapes that will look more or less familiar. Next. Again, some of the shapes that we see with the long necks, and they present a challenge to a turner. Next. The other thing is the embellishments that the Native Americans put on their pottery. Originally, the pottery was more for actual cooking and keeping grains and keeping seeds and other fundamental uses. Today, after the advent of aluminum, they don't make many pots to cook with anymore, but they're far more interesting and far more profitable as souvenirs and collectible items. Next. This is an Acoma pot that it's about 11 by 11 inches that we collected when we were out there. And you can see the detail, the fine detail in the pottery. And basically the pottery is made as a slab technique using the clays that are out there. And then a white slip is put over the outside. And then the pottery is painted basically using a black slip made from clay. And then the whole thing is fired. The clay, the natural color of the clay is the orange up on top. But you can see those fine lines are actually painted onto the pottery using a brush made from the yucca plant. Next. This is another piece of pottery. This is a smaller pot, 5 inches by 5 inches, with the detail on it that you can see in the design. And that pot is, again, it's made, the clay itself is a terracotta color with a white slip with black clay decorations. Next. Early on, there's a number of famous potters, just like there are a number of famous turners. This might be the David Ellsworth of the pottery field. I don't know, but this little pot is 6.5 inches wide by 7.5 inches high. And if you could find a Maria Martinez pot at a flea market, you ought to buy it. Next. The pots are fired. The clay is a terracotta color. When it's fired, it's fired in an open fire. And before the fire is out, they cover the pot with a mulch of animal dung and other things that keeps the air from getting to it and turns the color to black. This pot was glazed, and with the outside glaze, you can see the pattern in it. So the pot was burnished with a stone, and then the pattern was painted on, then the pot was fired. Next. This is a Baca piece in Santa Clara. The Santa Clara pieces are actually quite small, 3 inches by 4 inches wide, 3 inches high by 4 inches wide. Again, the painting is done on the pot with the pot is burnished. The painting is done with the clay, then it's fired, and then it gets that black color with the different layers of matte as a function of the painting. Next. They're not all pots are small. This is a big one. This is a Navajo pot painted with some of the Navajo decorations. Next. And this is a Santa Clara pot. We've seen people do relief. It reminds me of Dixie Biggs and her relief that she does in her pots. Again, the pot is the same clay with the decoration molded into the pot. Here the pot is a little bit thicker. It's not a really thin pot, but it holds that decoration. Next. Some of the pots are really finely designed and painted. This particular Hopi pot is one that we collected. The pot is quite small, maybe 2 inches by 3 inches. And you can see on the detail on it, the amount of detail that's in the painting. Next. Dusty Narano is a potter that does these small pieces. Some of these pieces are no more than the length of my finger, like 2 inches by 3 inches. And, but they're, again, the decoration and the skill in potting and the shapes are something that really interests me. Next. This is another Narano pot. You can see the detail in the trout on the top, trout chasing the frog. And the neck of the pot is actually quite thin with about a 3/8 inch hole in the top. Next. We're going to talk about designs a little bit later. So I think what we'll do now is we'll go to create a pot, and then we'll come back to this slideshow. Well, no, let's just finish the slideshow. When I make the pot, I can put a design on. The pot is designed on a piece of graph paper. We'll go to the next slide, and this graph paper are called polar graphs, and there's a piece of software called Graph Paper Maker, and I think there's a slide that has Graph Paper Maker on it. But you design the pot. This is not a pot. This is a platter. But you design the pot and the decoration on the Graph Maker paper that helps you transfer the design to the pot later. Next. Here's a design that you'll see that I did just recently on the graph paper, which actually shows you the design better than the polar graph. But the polar graph gives you an idea of how it's going to go on to the pot itself. This is the pattern this is the wheel that actually I would use for this design because it repeats at 12. So 120 would give me, this is a 60 piece wheel, and I would make 60 lines and then divide them in another 60. That would give me 120, and that would give me 10 repeats on the pattern.
Yep.
If I only want 5 repeats on the pattern, I just leave it at 60. So in this particular case, let's see, I have one here. One, two, three. This one has 6 repeats, but the repeat is only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So this would have 60 lines on it. This one actually would be done with the other wheel, but just one set of lines, of horizontal lines. So what I guess the point is that you have to think about, I mean, drawing the boxes in, it's just a matter of filling in the pattern on whatever it is that you have decided to do. That's the easy part, actually. It's the most tedious part, but it's once you get that to that point, it's actually just a matter of sitting down and doing it. In this case, I would count over 12. I do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, assuming that I had the pattern right. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And then I would come down the other way, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, well, I'd leave myself any space here, but it would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then I would just go on and fill in the rest of the pattern.
A 56 tick pattern would allow you to repeat this a 14 block pattern. So you could, if you just added, like, skipped a block and then added a vertical line, you could do that pattern on this one.
Yeah, you can do that too. You can split your pattern up and put other patterns between the patterns. And in fact, that slide, I don't know if that shows it. Let's see if I have a picture of it. Well, here, this will demonstrate. You can have a pattern like this, and skip 2 lines and do that pattern again. Skip 2 lines, do that pattern again, and make it fit into the wheel. As long as you count out and you're sure it's going to come out even. That's the advantage of the polar paper. Is before you actually put it on the wood, you can see whether it's going to intersect correctly or come out even. Otherwise, actually, the graph paper gives you a better idea of what the pattern is going to look like on the side of the piece. But I think this is where the problem-solving part comes in, and this is what makes it interesting and inspirational, in my opinion, to try to do something different. And not all. See, I pulled a couple pieces here that I've done. Here's a piece. This is a tiny piece. And I put milk paint on it, and I cut the top at an angle. It's a Navajo design. And I don't know how many people out there have worked with milk paint. It's new to me. I won a raffle and got $100 worth of milk paint sitting on my shelves at home. So I figured I better learn how to use it or do something with it. And it's very interesting. It's a mineral type thing, so it looks a lot like pottery, and it buffs out a lot like pottery too. This is a piece that I marbled. Let's see if you can see that. Where am I looking at? Osbot. I marbled it and then put a dragonfly stencil over top of it, and then put milk paint over top of that, and then buffed it out. And it gives you a whole different look. But again, it's the Native American pottery shape. A lot of our pots that we or that I've seen, I'll generalize here. People make very small bottoms on them. So, but most of the Native American pots have a very substantial bottom because they don't want them to fall over. They're actually there to be used and that you can put something in. Again, I think I showed this pot. This is another very simple design. It's just a couple chevrons with every other dot in between. Did that focus? Is it? Oh, there it goes. Okay. So you have that. This is beaded. You can bead the outside of the pot and put a design on it. This is wood burn. With a Cocobolo lit top on it. And if you go online and you look up Native American figures, art figures, these different figures have different meanings: wind, rain, harvest, war, music, and whatnot. And you can find that online. And they were just wood burned on top. So I think that the point is that we all find our inspiration somewhere, and I've found mine on the Native American pottery. So that's what I have for you tonight. If any other questions, I'd be happy to answer them. And I will just sand this all off and start over again with the lines, but that's how I do them.
Outstanding demo there, Walt. We appreciate you sharing your knowledge and inspiration and how-tos there.
Well, thank you. It's a pleasure.
So, folks, floor is open. If you got any questions or comments, now's your chance.
Great job, Walt.
Do you have a source for patterns?
Well, yeah, in a way. Although, what I would suggest, the internet has, if you're looking at a pattern, especially to learn how to put it into the graph paper and whatnot, there's a number of books on Indian pottery that you can get your hands on very inexpensively through used bookstores. The other idea is if you go online and you look up Maria Martez or some of these other, just put in Google Native American potters, and you'll get the galleries that carry their work, and you'll see great pictures of their pottery, and you can see that the designs that they use and try to figure them out. And believe me, it's not always simple to figure them out. Right. And put them on graph paper, even though you're looking straight at it. Your repeats and your interactions between the patterns gets quite complex. But that's one way to do it. And then the second thing is make your own patterns. They are a bunch of little dots on graph paper, so you can design anything you want. But the inspiration can come from the internet. And there's a lot to learn by trying to repeat a pattern that you see on a piece of the pottery.
Thank you.
There's a number of different styles. So if you do a Google image search on any of the, if you want to do a specific style, like Navajo or Hopi or Pueblo or any of the other ones, there is a great for instance, I know that there's a huge repertoire of imagery for Pueblo style pottery online also. So just do a Google image search and you'll see hundreds of examples.
Right. And you can get some of the ancient examples, like some of the environmental pottery or the cooking pottery that they actually use versus the decorative pottery that they now sell. There's quite a difference there too in terms of shapes and design. There's so much stuff out there, it's impossible to even talk about it all, but the different pueblos like Santa Clara has those little black pots, the sculpture pots. The Yakima are some of these more traditional what I call shapes and fine lines, fine detailed design. The Navajo pots are a little different, but you have a lot of artists. It's like their signature pot. So, you know, if you see a John Jordan wood turning, you know it's a John Jordan wood turning just because that's, you know, they all look kind of alike. Steve Sinner, you know what his vases look like. You can pick some of this stuff out. So there are potters out there that are currently working, Native American potters that are currently working that have signature styles that you can begin to recognize if you go and look for it.